Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back to Characters Explained, a series where I cover characters from the game Battle for Neighborville, to ultimately decide if they're worth trying or not. And in today's video, we're covering the winner of last week's poll that swept the competition, Sunflower. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. So I think we all know who Sunflower is at this point. There's really no need for any introduction. She's been a mainstay since the first game. She was also the first ever support plant introduced into the franchise, and I think most of you know her story by now. So let's skip straight to where things get interesting, her entries into shooter games. Sunflower has stayed surprisingly consistent throughout the games, being a support class. The only ability that she lost in the transition to BFN was her Heal Flower, which worked exactly like the Heal Flower potted plant found in every game. So without much else to talk about, we might as well go ahead and cover her basic stats in BFN. Sunflower has 100 HP, which is pretty average for a support character, and her primary, the Sun Pulse, deals 8 damage normally with 10 as a crit. To add to this, her ammo count is 40, and she has an RPM of 420. That's not so bad at all. Also, moving forward, I'm getting these stats from a chart made by the Chemist Zombie, and I'll put that chart in the description of these videos if you want to see it. Overall, her primary could take some names, that's for sure. It's surprisingly powerful for a character that doesn't really need it in this game, but we'll get to that. Now let's cover her abilities. And man, she has some pretty good ones. Starting out with Sunny Side Up, this ability lets Sunflower shower the ground with Healing Sun, which doesn't heal much, but there's a lot of it, so it makes up for that. Similar to Scientist Warp, she can actually use it up to 3 times before needing to cool down, and she can also use it while running. So it's essentially the Heal Flower ability nerfed, but honestly, with the benefits it gives you, it's really not that bad of a trade-off. Next up, we have Sunbeam. This ability is very similar to P-Gatling, where Sunflower roots herself into the ground and fires a beam of sun at enemies. This beam deals 10 damage normally and 12 for a crit, and unlike P-Gatling, this beam is continuous, meaning it doesn't pause when you're holding the fire button down. That actually makes it quite useful when you're tracking an enemy. There's not much else to say about it, as besides the name and beam itself, as well as the fact that she can exit it much quicker, it works identically to P-Gatling. And finally, we have possibly the most infamous ability in this game, Heal Beam. Whenever it's active, Sunflower heals the nearest teammate with a beam that replenishes health. Simple stuff, right? Well, not really. The healing itself is absolutely crazy, with it being around 16-ish health per second. Ridiculous, right? This single ability makes Sunflower the best healer in the game, easily. Which would be fine, but if you've ever played BFN before, you know just how annoying that makes her. And that was all of her basic stats and abilities. She's an interesting character to say the very least. She's pretty good at hurting opponents while also being a really good healer. And that makes me wonder how much better she can get with upgrades. So let's find out. So, as I'm sure a lot of you guessed, Sunflower has a lot of good upgrades. She's one of the few characters in this game that has upgrades for almost any playstyle, which is pretty rare to say the very least. So let's cover what we can. Starting with the upgrades that aren't based on abilities, we have drumroll please. Wait, could we seriously not afford a drum roll? Oh, god dang it. Okay, it's one. It's one upgrade, but luckily it is a pretty good one. This upgrade is Vampire Flower, which allows Sunflower to gain health by dealing damage. So basically, imagine it's Vampire Flower from Garden Warfare 2, but it's actually good. Anyways, let's move on to all of her healing upgrades. And yes, we're covering every single one of them. Starting with Sunslinger, this upgrade increases her healing rate for a target that's at low health. Pretty basic stuff, and it's a good upgrade. Next up is Pocket Protection, which gives Sunflower health for healing allies. This upgrade is more suited for selfish Sunflower players, but it's still a good upgrade nonetheless. Moving on to her actual Heal Beam upgrades, we have 3. Starting with Full Bloom, this upgrade extends the range of the Heal Beam by 50%. It's not as bad as it sounds, because with the right team it can be useful. Regardless, it was worth mentioning. Next up is Cocoon, which increases the overhealth you can give an ally. Luckily, this upgrade isn't as disgusting as it sounds, because thankfully the overhealth dissipates when you take the heal beam off of your ally. But still, it's ridiculous! And finally, we have Blossom, which is honestly a really good upgrade. Basically, instead of 1 heal beam, you get 2. Yes, 2 heal beams. Now this upgrade is special in more than one way. Besides the heal beams, this is also one of 2 upgrades in this game that cost 5 upgrade points when it's not a legendary upgrade. So this one's good, but it is very expensive. Now let's cover the 3 other upgrades I want to go over, because each of these are pretty good in their own right. Starting with Quick Aggress, you move 15% faster when you use Sunny Side Up with this upgrade. The other Sunny Side Up upgrade is Shove, which knocks opponents away whenever you activate the ability. And finally, we have Recharge, which gives Sunbeam ammo back for dealing damage. Unlike Reload Gatling, this upgrade doesn't make it infinite, but it's still a very good upgrade. And we covered just about every sunflower upgrade in the game. Hey, I told you guys her upgrades were pretty varied. And now let's quickly go over the 3 builds I made for her that you guys can take if you'd like. Starting with an aggro build, we have Vampire Flower, Shove, and Recharge. This is actually the build I use, and I sometimes switch out Recharge for Quick Aggress, but in general, this build gives Sunflower some good versatility in battles. Next up is a defensive build, with Cocoon, Sunslinger, and Reviver Ward. Yeah, as if fighting Sunflower wasn't annoying enough. With this build, you'll pretty much be the best team healer if you're playing Turf. This is a disgusting build to use if you have some tanky characters on your team. And finally, we have a Pocket Flower build, as I like to call it, with Blossom and Sunslinger. If you use this build, and you're attacking somebody while not healing somebody else, you're not using this build right. This build is strictly for the people who would rather not attack and instead be the ultimate healer. Just be warned that the enemy team will probably hate your guts after a couple of matches. And with everything about Sunflower covered, I think it's about time we answer the big question. Is Sunflower worth trying? Well, I would say yes. She may come off as a simple medic type in this game, but you better believe she has some solid firepower under her sleeves. She's honestly a great character to try out if you're interested in playing support characters but you don't know where to start. And with that, this video is now finished. Thank you to everybody who stuck around until the end, I really appreciate it. This video was honestly a really fun one to make, as I actually like Sunflower quite a bit. And as always, if you guys are new around here and you like what you see, then drop a like, maybe even subscribe, and I'll be seeing you guys in my next video. Peace!